What's going on, Jeff fans? Another heartbreaking defeat that I'm here to recap. A 14-point lead in back-to-back weeks against division rivals. There's so much to be said about this game and, the implications that it has going forward. I know in a lot of people's eyes, this season was never supposed to be anything anyway. If you were reading all the media headlines, then yeah, that's what you believe. But we were this close to being 5-2. Okay, whether you want to admit that or not, whether you think this is a team that should be in contention or was in contention or realistically had a shot at the playoffs, they were that close. Okay, and even if they, you put aside the Patriot game, if they would have won today at 4-3, you're a half game out of the division. You're possibly even in the wild card. I'm not even sure what the standings look like right now, but it would be impossible to say for any 4-3 team, not just the Jets, for any 4-3 team, you can't say that they're not in the hunt. Okay, and that's what we had a chance to do. It's just such a shame that they squandered this opportunity. It was all right there in front of them. We'll start with the offense. You give John Morton a ton of credit for how this team's come out each of the last 2 weeks. They've come out guns a-blazing in the first half. Unfortunately, it seems like they've kind of used all their bullets in the first half, and they have nothing left in the second half. Josh McCown, he played a fantastic game up until that last drive. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. As a veteran quarterback in that situation, you've got to realize you have 3 timeouts. There's 40 seconds left. First off, Morton, I think he had to call something, either a run, a screen, something a little bit safer than that when you're backed up, at the 15-yard line. I understand going for it there because you have the timeouts, but if anything, use the middle of the field. ASJ, where was he the entire day? It seemed like they didn't get him involved at all. Just so many opportunities that, they could have, again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Fourth quarter, they just, negative 22 yards. Negative 22 yards. It's unfathomable. You look at that, you look at the penalties, which were a huge factor all day on both sides of the ball. Whether it was offensively, trying to make up those yards, or defensively, just allowing them to extend their drives when they shouldn't have. But switching gears to defense, you love the play of the safeties. May and Adams definitely stood out. Lee might have had his best game as a Jet, so you're seeing those young pieces start to develop, which again, bigger picture, that's what you want. Even Mo, he made a few plays today. It's nice to see him show up. Him and Leo had a few quarterback hits, even though we still don't have any sacks from them yet, which is a shame. Jordan Jenkins, solid game from him. That one drive, he took out Cutler, and then he nailed more after that. But, unfortunately, I think I would have rather seen Jay Cutler in there for the rest of the game because we were getting to him pretty good, and he didn't look too confident out there. And then Moore comes in, and it's just a completely different ball game. So, just a tough loss. You look at the penalties, man. That was obviously, I think, the biggest thing. 12 for 124 yards, 5 more in the fourth quarter. Buster screen. I don't know what there is to say about him. I was starting to gain some confidence in him over the way he played the last 2 weeks. And then he goes out there today, and he looks like he didn't have a clue covering Kenny Stills. He was involved in all 4 touchdowns that the Dolphins scored. He had a negative play in all 4 of their touchdowns, whether it was penalties or giving up the actual touchdown itself or a big play leading to the touchdown. He was just all over the place today. I know Xavier Coleman got hurt at some point, so you really couldn't have taken him out of the game. But, at least give him some help. Do something. Make adjustments. And that's the thing that worries me the most about Todd Bowles. I like a lot of what he's done and a lot of what he's improved on over these last couple weeks. Don't get me wrong. But to say at this point that you have confidence in him in a big game or in a big spot down the stretch in a close game, I don't. I don't. I don't have confidence in him to push the right buttons in those crucial moments. He has not proven that yet. He has not proven that he can make those adjustments to win a close game. So those are the things that, we're going to have to look for over these next couple weeks. I know people don't want to talk, about the playoffs. That was a heated debate that we got into on Friday night, whether or not this team was actually in contention and if they were playing for something. I'm not afraid to say it. If they would have won this game today, I'm sorry. You're in the hunt. You're a contender for the playoffs. It's just bottom line. That's what it is. That's what it would have been. Whether people like it or not, or if they want to admit it or not, that would have been the reality. And, unfortunately at 3-4 with 3 division losses, you're probably not anymore. The only potential hope for that would be if you win the next 2 weeks against Miami and Buffalo, get back to 5-4, then suddenly, all right, you could talk about it again. But based off the way they played today, it's very hard to imagine that we're going to win back-to-back games at home. Certainly the Falcons don't look too good right now, but we don't either. Okay, we're doing some things well, which is a positive, but we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough, and the troubling part is that we're not closing out games. We either play good in the first half and not good in the second half, or we're good in the second half and we suck in the beginning of the game. We're not putting together that full 60 minutes yet, and that's a big concern. Obviously, it's a young team, so you hope that as the season goes on, some of these things get corrected. But next week it's going to be a big challenge. It's going to be a huge challenge. All the stories are going to be out there with Dan Quinn, how he could have been the Jets coach, and it's going to be a fun game. Hopefully we can get back to 500, and we can look forward to a strong second half. All right. Make sure you guys are tuned in. Again, Tuesday nights, Friday nights, Let's Talk Jets, 8 p.m. Plenty to talk about. Tune in, call in. We'll talk to you guys then.